Greetings, dear friends. According to my channel statistics, viewers and listeners from the United States of America are in 4th place. A significant number of you are in New York. I have reached out and asked those who have the right to vote here, New York residents, please do not vote for the communist, for Mamdani, the guard. I hope you knew this without me and didn't vote for him. But something terrible happened. He won the New York mayoral election. I want to discuss this further. This video will be interesting not only to United States residents, but to everyone, because in the end, it directly concerns Ukraine. I want to start right away by saying that I've picked out 5 of the most striking quotes. Well, in my opinion, of course, these are the statements by Mamdani that he made during the election campaign, just in his early speeches. After that, everyone realized that he's just an outright hardcore communist, a radical leftist, just an unrepentant lefty. The first quote, "We need to seize the means of production and build a network of urban grocery stores to put an end to food apartheid." So here we have a direct Marxist phrase, seize the means of production, which is the foundation of communist theory, implying the nationalization of private property for the workers. So the guy is just a straight-up Marxist. The second quote, where he contradicts the first, "I'm not a communist, I'm a democratic socialist fighting for the workers against the oligarch landlords." It's a defense against the label, but it emphasizes class struggle, meaning workers versus the bourgeoisie, a reflection of Marx's Communist Manifesto. Third, capitalism is a system that exploits the many for the benefit of the few. We need solidarity to redistribute wealth and power. This classic anti-capitalist narrative highlights proletariat exploitation and calls for solidarity and redistribution. Core communist ideas. Fourth, a quote, "From Palestine to Queens, imperialism and gentrification are 2 sides of the same colonial coin. End the occupation, end the eviction. This connects global imperialism with local exploitation." So, a Marxist-Leninist analysis where the United States is seen as a neo-colonial power. Well, fifth and last, this is just a real spectacle. No more private ownership of housing. Renting is a human right, not a commodity for profit. A direct attack on private property is the sacred cow of capitalism. For the sake of what? For the sake of collective control. A direct challenge, that is, it challenges bourgeois norms, close to communist collectivism. This horror was chosen by New York residents. We'll now sort everything out step by step, as this is what's happening right now. No matter how much I resisted or tried to stop it, this is completely natural. What's happening in America, what I personally noticed, especially in Luhansk, in states like California, that is, the youth are completely brainwashed. Just recently, the famous singer Billie Eilish came out and said, "Billionaires should give away their money, guys, make it happen." And there's a very wealthy man here in Florida, Grant Cardone. Someone from Florida is watching me. Do you know who? And he came to this idiot ex and wrote to her, "Billie, hi, I'm your fan. You have a concert coming up soon. I don't remember in which city," he said. The cheapest ticket is $129 in one of the United States' poorest cities. Shouldn't these tickets be free? Do you see how absurd this gets? Young people have been brainwashed. Where did Billie Eilish earn her money? In a communist system? In a communist system, she would be singing in some choir or at best for the secretary of the Communist Party. That's how real communism works. Young people in America have no idea. Those radically left ones, completely brainwashed. Let's take teenagers, because here they are extremely radical against capitalism. Those who live in America, I mean. Especially in the left states, they will understand perfectly what I'm talking about and will write about it in the comments. A teen in $150 sneakers and a $1,500 iPhone angrily posts as an anti-corruption activist online. A capitalist post on social media, which was invented by smart people who could only exist in a capitalist system, where there's a stock market where you can get funding. In other words, a financial market. Now, all of this belongs to corporations, which is also a natural element of capitalism. They actively use all of this, but communists are very afraid of it. So I want to tell you, if they had lived even a week of their lives in those countries, in the post-Soviet space, like Ukraine, Russia, or Belarus, they would quickly come to their senses, to be continued. And they would never write such nonsense in their lives, because we grew up and lived in those systems. And they would suffocate there. I suffocated in it as a child, while those echoes were still present in school and so on. later in life that happened less and less. Then the Soros people took over the country, as I mentioned in another video, who congratulated Mamdani on his victory. Alexis Soros instantly posted the photo and said, "You're such a great guy." That's who financed all of this. That's whose idea it was for communism to come to America. And did the whole Soros family earn their money? Only in capitalist systems. Why are they doing all this? In my deep conviction, this is my personal opinion. George Soros is a KGB agent recruited a long time ago, and all his actions are aimed at inciting wars, supposedly with anti-Putin rhetoric. In reality, all of this is deliberately waved like a red flag, provoked, just like in the case of Ukraine, specifically choosing the spots targeted by Putin's propaganda. And that's how they do it. Right now, their goal is to make America communist, because obviously, what will that do? It will destroy America. It will ruin America. But the good news is that in reality, no one here will actually let this really happen. And thank God, I'll tell you, this one won. Stemp is in New York, because now the residents of New York will understand what communism is. And this directly affects Ukraine. I realized something. Maybe I don't like something. I can cover it for years, make suggestions, and complain. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. It's impossible with me, but millions of people agree with me, will support me, or a million people. But there are situations like what just happened in New York and what's happening now in Ukraine. When the worse it gets, the better. We think we've hit rock bottom, but it's not actually the lowest point yet. I'll discuss Ukraine in more detail on the stream and in other videos and explain what I mean. In the case of New York, do you want to know what communism is? Well, let's do it. That's at a time when New York itself is turning into a dump with a bunch of problems. It's far from the city that Rudy Giuliani once cleaned up and so on and so forth. This is not the New York where President Trump made himself and his fortune. It's a completely different New York, and now it's going to get even worse. So we will watch this with interest, whether you live in America or not. And if you're a new viewer of my channel, I kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel, because I try to bring together people with common sense. We all need to stick together. Write comments about what you agree with in this video. Write comments about what you disagree with. People of America, share your own examples of dumb leftist propaganda and these slogans, especially those related to teenagers and young people. We will discuss this separately with you. Because I know for sure that the overwhelming majority of adults, who could not only be my fathers, but even my grandfathers, probably they all fled from the Soviet Union precisely because of this communist plague. Seeing all this now is truly painful for them. Well, of course, there are other types who shout, "I'm for a free society, I'm a doctor, I'll heal Ukraine." They come to Ukraine from this generation and promote purely Marxist, Lviv-style dictatorial theses, I would say. That happens too, but that's just how it is. A humorous digression. Thank you to everyone who watched the video until the end. Subscribe, leave comments. Bye.